Where were you born, Grandpa?
In Painted Woods, just 2 miles south of here.
What year? $1898?
I guess that's what it was.
Okay. Now, how far back can you remember?
Well, I remember when I was about maybe 3.5 years old. My folks moved out on her mother's place, and her sister and her was getting ready to go rig some hay. And I don't know which one of them was going to go rigging, but they had one of them old wells that you pull one bucket up and the other go down. It was just a dugout well. They dug the well by hand, about, I suppose, about 25, 30 foot deep. And they had one of the horses tied to one of them arms that went up the pulley up at the top. And they didn't know what one of the horses got. They had one of the horses tied to that pole that goes up the pulley on top. And they didn't know what the horse got scared of. But the horse pulled back, and they pulled the whole top off the well, because it just sat on there loose on top of that hole. And I happened to be standing on that place where they stood and pulled water out. There was a couple of planks there that they stood on to keep their feet dry. And anyhow, my mother and her sister wasn't too far away from there, I guess. So Minnie, that was my mother's sister, she seen me, and my feet was hanging down the well, but they spilled water right on top where they stood, and the grass must have been that high. And some way or another, I got 2 hands full of grass. And no was further away from me than Minnie, so Minnie come and she got a hold of my hands and pulled me out. And there was nothing said about that for, I don't know, 3-4 years later. I told Mom one day, my God, I still remember. I said, I couldn't have fell that well, didn't I? She looked at me, how the hell do you remember that? That wasn't very big, but I still remembered it.
You know how old you were?
I couldn't have been over 3.5 or 4.
Well, do you remember any more stories? Back when you were 3, 4, 5 years old?
And then I asked Dad. Dad was out thrashing at the time. And when Dad come home, I asked him how much water was in that well. I didn't know have any idea. I was just a kid, so I asked Dad, is there much water in that well? Oh, he said, there's plenty in there. He said, there must be 10, 12 feet of water in that well. So when I fell in there, it's been the last of me.